Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Are we on air? I don't see the on air. Okay.
Turn that light on.
Turn the light on. Okay. We are now live. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We are going to start with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Bowen. Please rise.
Please bow your heads. Dear Father, we thank you for all the blessings we have, both individually and collectively as a city. We focus as the fall comes on all the different things we need, and then guide us in our selection, give us wisdom. And thank you, Father, for all the traditions that the fall holds for families and good times ahead of us. We ask for your blessings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen and women who have fought and died for our freedom, and for all those who continue to serve around the world, protecting our way of life. Thank you. I'll now call this meeting to order. This is City of Hardeeville, regular city council meeting and public hearing, 205 Main Street, Hardeeville, South Carolina, October 2nd, 2025 at 5 p.m. Our first order of business is to approve today's agenda. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to today's agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, next we have public comments. Do we have anybody signed up this evening?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go right into public presentations. First, we're going to have Fire Prevention Week proclamation. And do we have a volunteer? Okay. Oh, you have your copy? Okay.
It's not a volunteer, I volunteered.
Yeah, voluntold. Yep, something like that. Evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. How's everybody doing tonight?
I don't know, is your mic on?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm
that's a
not.
little bit
There you go.
better.
Not standing close enough. Tonight, I'm presenting the City of Hardeeville 2025 Fire Prevention Week proclamation. Whereas fire is a constant and destructive threat of life and property in our communities, and whereas the National Fire Protection Association has established Fire Prevention Week to raise public awareness of fire safety, with 2025 theme being Charge into Fire Safety Lithium-ion Batteries in Your Home. And whereas lithium-ion batteries are prevalent in many modern devices, but they store a large amount of energy in small space and can overheat, start a fire, and even explode if overcharged or damaged. Posing a significant risk if not handled and stored properly. And whereas the Fire Prevention Week proclamation by President Calvin Coolidge in October 1925 to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, a tragic event that highlights the importance of fire safety education and preventative measures. And whereas it is the responsibility of every citizen to learn about the dangers of fire and take appropriate steps to protect themselves, their families, and their communities. I urge all residents to educate themselves and their families on proper care of charging electronic devices containing lithium-ion batteries, charge devices on hard, non-flammable surfaces, and never leave them to charge unattended for extended periods. Store batteries and devices in a way that prevents damage and exposure to excessive heat. install and maintain working smoke alarms in their homes to ensure early warning in case of fire, and develop a home fire escape plan and practice it with the entire family. Let us all work together to make our homes and communities safer by embracing the principles of fire prevention and by charging into fire safety this year.
Thank you. You did a very good job. Council, I'd like a motion to endorse this proclamation.
Motion to endorse the fire prevention week proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Here we go. It's a nice signed copy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Next, we have,
Here for you, Ryan. We don't have an applause sign yet. We're working on it.
Feel like I'm at CBS.
next we have National Night Out Proclamation. And we have Chief Gavaria will give that for us.
Ready for me, sir? We good to go? All right.
You're good to go.
All right. Mayor, members of council, senior city staff, citizens of Hardeeville, it's my pleasure to read the proclamation for the National Night Out 2025. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch sponsors a national community building campaign on Tuesday, August 5th, 2025, entitled National Night Out. Whereas the oppressive heat and other weather factors creates difficulties in holding the event in August, some southern states have moved the celebration to October. And whereas the National Night Out campaign provides an opportunity for neighbors in Hardeeville to join over 38 million neighbors across 16,000 communities from all 50 states. Whereas National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes strong police-community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie to make neighborhoods safer and a more caring place to live, work, and play. Whereas neighbors in Hardeeville assist the Hardeeville Police Department through community building efforts and support National Night Out 2025. And whereas it is essential that all neighbors of Hardeeville come together with police to work together to build a more safe and caring community, it's my pleasure on behalf of Mayor Williams to hereby call upon the neighbors of Hardeeville to join the Hardeeville Police Department and the National Association of Town Watch and support the National Night Out on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025.
Thank you, Chief. Very well done. And for our audience watching, what time is that? 6?
6 o'clock? 6 to 8, sir.
6 to 8. Okay. Council, may I have a motion to endorse this proclamation?
I make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we endorse that proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The council has endorsed this proclamation. There we go. There's a signed copy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next, we have the Police Department School Safety Update by Lieutenant Michaud.
Evening.
Good evening.
I've asked if it's okay for Chief Beckmeyer to join me this evening. I have a quick presentation to go over some of these things.
Do we have to change the agenda for that? Okay, no.
I don't see his name on here.
More the merrier.
He's just going to fill in any blanks as you go. All right, so discuss this morning some of the efforts that we've done to promote training and education in our area when it comes to active attacks or active threats, also school safety. It's not really just a school safety thing anymore as much as a community effort with the police department and some of other businesses, schools, places of worship. We've also hosted some community events at our local rec center when it comes to our CRAZE training. Our CRAZE training is a citizens response to active shooter training that we have, our educational program. We've done it here at the city of Hardeeville. I know we've done it with some of the members of the city as well, and we're trying to expand the program. We got several officers that are certified to train this in our department, and we have also included fire rescue and the fire department in some of that training. Reason being is because we're trying to prevent that critical time that we have to be able to respond to these events and promote life-saving measures as quickly as possible. And the only way to do that in some events is to incorporate fire with us in these dynamic and critical events. So the training only makes sense to keep everyone together. So I'm going to kind of go through some of these things. If anybody has any questions or any comments or any suggestions, we're open to any of that. So far in 2024, 2025, we've had anywhere from, I'd say about once a month, we're hosting a training, whether we're hosting it at other areas, the schools, and things of that nature within, not just the city of Hardeeville, but also within the county of Jasper. Kind of some demonstrations or some examples of that. Hardeeville officers attend and instruct professional development training, which is when schools have their professional development training teachers. They've invited us in to do annual training. So it's not just a one-time thing. If they get new staff, we're going to be there every year to restructure this training as, unfortunately, these events develop. And it's a common occurrence, unfortunately, in our society now. So we have to prepare and we have to adapt our training to what the threat is, if that makes sense. We've also bridged the gap with the fire department and the police department and brought ourselves together to go through the active response training that we have. So as you see here, some examples of our active attack training that we had here locally this year. We've had several. I think Chief Beckmeyer's got some statistics on it. I think I know the police department's had at least 200 hours jointly with the fire department just this year on this actual topic, which is huge for us. It's actually more so than I would say than anybody else in the area is doing. So obviously, swift response to victims, treatments, and more relevant to our training than ever. All right, you guys understand all of that. We've also recently, since the chief has authorized it, we've developed a tactical response team. All right, this is important, and we've also joined together with Jasper County Sheriff's Office on this. So you have members from not only Jasper County Sheriff's Office, we have a mutual aid agreement with the Jasper County Sheriff's Office and the Hardeeville Fire Department to provide tactical medics that are assigned to deploy with our tactical operators and our officers to these events, to these operations, and they're almost every operation. Chief Beckmeyer provides a medical officer or a tactical medic to be on hand with our officers as whether it's a search warrant, whether or not it's a barricaded subject or any kind of dynamic critical incident, they will be there. They've been outfitted. The city's been gracious enough to outfit them with the appropriate equipment, and Chief Beckmeyer can speak on that to help us out. Some of the members of the team just last week attended the SWAT Summit in Columbia, South Carolina that was hosted by the FBI and have received additional advanced training on that. We have new members that have just made the team that passed the tryout. They will be going next month to NTOA, to the basic SWAT school, to get their certifications. Some of the future and current safety proposals that we have, just so you know, we've got SROs in every school now, to include the Hartwood School. So we're covered in the schools when it comes to SROs. All schools will be sufficiently covered with school resource officers. These are some of the future proposals that we have. We also have our camera system that we've talked about in great extent on these meetings. The community safety program that integrate the cameras for the schools will now be integrated into, as we work forward, will be integrated into our real-time crime center, if that makes sense. This is an example of some of the future projects we have. Gunshot detection that we propose. There is a school that is going to invest in this project and do gunshot detection in our area in the near future. What it is an advanced warning system that will notify law enforcement, dispatch, and the school itself if there is gunshots detected within that proximity of that school. There is fail-safes put in for fireworks and things of that nature. So that'll give law enforcement even more of an advance to responding to these incidents in a timely manner. This is, the other thing you see up top is what's called an ARV, which is actually an armored van. Doesn't look like much, but it provides that extra level of protection for both the medical resources that we have here with the tactical medics, along with your tactical response team to respond to some of these events, to be able to evac any potential victims that we have into a hot zone and to get medical personnel in there as fast as possible and also have that added protection. So these are just kind of some of the examples that we've put together for you today on some of the advancements that we have. I don't know if you guys have any questions on any of that for myself or Chief Beckmeyer. I might let Chief Beckmeyer talk for a minute because he can go into some other measures that we've come up with.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Like LT was saying, we've integrated very, very well, and that's due to Hardeeville Police Department. We are far ahead of, and that's not my opinion, that can be documented and can be proven. Hopefully, we don't ever have to prove it in real life. It can be proven in training and different matrices that we run around the country. We are on the leading edge of this, and what it really boils down to is there's two different missions, and they have to happen simultaneously or nearly simultaneously. The police department, their goal is to stop the killing. For the rescue side of the house, we have to stop the dying. It's unfortunate that these events happen. It's even more unfortunate that they're happening more often and that they're more devastating. And the most unfortunate or tragic part of it is that often these deaths are preventable. And they're preventable due to you're on a clock once this happens. So we have to get in there and we have to stop the bleeding. We have to control the airway. We have to stabilize trauma, and then we have to be able to get those patients out of there very quickly. So that's a brief synopsis. Like LT said, since January combined, we've had nearly 200 hours of training specifically on this topic. For our tactical medics, we are just under 300 hours of training in addition to the other 200. So it's something we take very, very seriously, and it's because of Hardeeville PD, their willingness to bring us in, and it's a great relationship, and who benefits from that are going to be the people that are potentially victims. So even when even if, like LT mentioned, on the tactical medic side, we're there for the officers, and if no officers hurt, but we've had it before where there's been somebody that's not even involved may have chest pain or something. We are there. We're paramedics. We have advanced protocols. We're under Dr. Zorch. It's all he's our med control physician. On top of that, if something serious does happen, we have helicopter on standby and dedicated to us for a 15-minute window, and we have all kinds of advanced evac plans all the way down to the coordination with the hospital. We will stay with the officer. Should something happen, we will stay with that officer until we get to the emergency room. There's no handoff from the tactical medic because we do work with advanced protocols that are approved both through Dr. Zorch and the state of South Carolina.
I had a conversation, I think maybe with Val recently. It seems that places of worship are the target of the month. And we talk a lot about having SROs in the schools. Has there been any conversations? I know in one of the earlier slides we talked about doing training for the places of worship. But are there any other ideas that we have to protect our churches?
So we do offer prepaid positions for officers. As you know, through separate events, there are a couple of the religious schools in the area that do ask for that, and we are providing that currently, both for sporting events mostly and other events, yes. So and we also do extra patrols during certain hours during certain services and things of that nature, if that answers your question. Now, what I will say about the response courses that we provide, we're giving them the building blocks to respond and plan for an event, which might be their worst day, right? So any organized sports, you plan for your next play. So you're trying to prevent all of this and give them just the basic tools. This is very basic training to give them something, to give them the right mindset to know how to react quickly to these incidents. But yes, what I was trying to answer your question, was trying to express today is I know we've talked about school safety. It's not really a school safety thing anymore, at least for this topic. It's a community safety issue. Yeah. So we're trying to offer it to businesses, places of worship, like you're asking, schools and things of that nature. So yes, sir, we've offered it. Anybody watching today can reach out to us, and we'd be happy to provide the training free of charge.
Perfect.
If I could say, Ms. Guzman and I have both been through the training, and I found it very eye-opening at the time. The need to get this out into the community so more people have the training. The recent events have shown that there's definitely a need there. The class limit of 45, my little development has almost 5,000 people in there. I think you could do one a week for 10 weeks and still not cover the number of people that are in there. Has there ever been given any thought to videoing one of the classes to be able for people to access that on their own?
We'd be happy to do that if that's something that would work.
I think it would be very helpful As we grow, that some people could access that. And even myself, I'd like to be able to go back and review
Right.
these certain things, because it was quite an eye-opening experience. Things that you wouldn't even think about doing in that type of a situation. Now we understand to do that, and if we are ever in that situation, we would be able to help others who don't know what to do. But there's definitely a need for more other programs.
Generally, we try to tailor it to the facility as much as we can, and we do try to provide a little bit of hands-on with that. But we can try to work something out.
Anything to be able to get the word out would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We can explore that.
Anyone else from council have a comment or question?
I would just like to say, Sam, and to both of you, thank you for your leadership. I don't think anything is more important than the safety of our residents. And thank God we have a plan in place, and we have a lot of coordination, and that will make a difference. I hope we never need it.
Yes, sir.
But I'm so thankful that you've thought of this and have things in place, so thank you. And Sam, thank you for your leadership too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I have a question. When you have these drills, do you all have any plans to engage the local hospitals for a potential mass casualty incident?
Yes, ma'am, I can speak to that. And to the other questions as well, we'll continue to work with the police department. I think some great ideas have been brought up. The video side, while LT said that they tailor it to the specific location. On the medical side, we can get far more in depth because medical is medical regardless of the location. And those are very good points, and we could make videos and push those out. Just simple things like how to apply a tourniquet and some of the very important realities of applying that tourniquet. As far as coordination with the hospitals, we do work with trauma centers. In fact, I've got a special request in right now to bring some additional frontline medications in from Savannah Memorial. So that there's two aspects of that. The main aspect I think you're asking about, ma'am, is their preparation to receive what could potentially be a mass casualty incident. We had our Department of Public Health inspections a couple of weeks ago, and while our inspector was down, I discussed at length with him bringing online state-recognized mass casualty incident capabilities, which will be we'll have a dedicated apparatus. Nobody in this area that I'm aware of in the immediate area is providing that at a state level. Every fire department should be able to provide mass casualty incident mitigation, but we're looking to take it to the next level. And so that's a key component of that is also coordinating with the hospitals and some crossover training, ma'am.
Yeah. Because what concerns me is the fact that none of our hospitals are even a level 2 trauma center. So if we did have one of these incidents, where would we be taking our patients?
A lot of our patients are going to have to go to Savannah Memorial, and if we are talking about, but the hospital, even if they're not a bona fide trauma center, our paramedics, all of our paramedics have advanced training on being able to basically figure out what's going on and communicate that, relay that. So even if it's not a true trauma center, stabilization at Coastal, they are very capable of it, and that becomes strictly a communication piece. That's a piece that we have to drill, and to your point, ma'am, that's a piece that we have to communicate in advance with the hospital and make sure that, a lot of that's going to happen real time, depending on the amount of patients and how grievous the injuries are.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, this is why it was so important for us to join and kind of bridge the gap in the fire department. Speaking specifically, after 20 years, we don't normally do this with fire and law enforcement, and that's everybody's seen in the past how that's been a big problem. So that's why we joined forces and we got together, and we're teaming up every month. We train monthly together with the fire department on this exact topic. So we're trying to stay ahead of it. We feel like we've done that, but we'd be happy to answer any other questions that you have on the matter. But I don't think I can stress enough how important that relationship is. I've worked other places and it doesn't exist. So I'm very proud that that's happening here. So I appreciate you allowing us to do that.
And you've got your radio communications issues all straightened out if there's a situation, so that what happened at Uvalde or a place in Florida doesn't happen.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we've learned from other failures. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
John, Bill, any further comments or questions?
No, sir, it's very informative. I appreciate what y'all are doing.
Just reiterate, impressive. Thank you for the leadership.
Yeah.
Thank you for being
Awesome.
proactive. Let's be the best in the state.
Yes, sir. We will. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we have the presentation and approval of minutes from the September 18, 2025 regular city council meeting. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the minutes from September 18th?
Motion to approve the minutes from September 18th.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain since I was not here. We have no old business tonight. We do have a public hearing for the Hilton Head Lakes West Municipal Improvement District. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. As a prerequisite to adopting several of the items that are on our agenda tonight, we are hosting a public hearing. So if there's any members of the public that would like to speak regarding the Hilton Head Lakes West Municipal Improvement District, this is a call for public comment. Mayor?
Anyone from the public who'd like to ask any questions or make any comments about the proposal for a municipal improvement district in Hilton Head Lakes West? Any comments from the online public? Okay, seeing none, I think we can close the public hearing for the municipal improvement district and go right into new business. First order of business, a resolution to establish a policy for the issuance of bank-qualified conduit bonds through the city of Hardyville, South Carolina, to set forth procedures and limitations for the use of the city's bank qualification status. This is Resolution 2025-10-02A. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So while there are a lot of big words in the title that you just read, I'm going to try to summarize it in a format that is hopefully easily understandable. So the city, as part of its operational processes, borrows money from time to time, either for capital projects or other needs that it might have. Historically, that borrowing has been done through what is called bank qualified financing. And while I can't tell you all the attributes about what makes something bank qualified, the result is it typically results in a little bit more favorable interest rate than what you would get on just the general borrowing on the open market. So for the city's purposes of borrowing annually, we want to keep the ability to issue bank qualified financing. Now, one of the caveats that comes with that is, in order to qualify for that type of financing, you cannot borrow more than $10 million in any calendar year. And that borrowing is regardless of who might be involved or the type of borrowing. It is a cap that once you've borrowed $10 million within a calendar year, you are no longer tax-exempt bonds, or tax-exempt borrowing. Within a calendar year, you are no longer eligible for bank-qualified financing. With the city undertaking a discussion of the Hilton Head Lakes West Mid and knowing that we have several other projects that may be coming in to look at their own mid at some point in time, we've learned that if the city acts as a pass-through borrower for a mid, and those borrowings are likely going to be tens of millions of dollars, it would preclude the city from being able to qualify for bank-qualified financing. So what this policy is that you are considering tonight essentially says if the situation arises where the city cannot take advantage of bank-qualified financing, the entity who's seeking to borrow money using the city as the pass-through entity will pay us the difference so that Hardyville residents don't have to pay higher rates on their borrowing than what they otherwise would have had we been able to qualify for bank qualified financing. So at the end of the day, really what this is doing is just saying, yes, we agree to act as the pass-through borrower so long as you agree to keep us whole and we don't have to pay higher rates or more money than what we otherwise would. So that's my ability to try to take a very complex subject and boil it down into something that's easily understandable. I can tell you we've had several conversations with the developers of Hilton Head Lakes, and then we're also planning on building this policy, if you adopt it, into the mid-application documents for any future entities that may come forward, so that this is just a known condition from the outset whenever we start having these conversations.
Mr. Mearsman, do you have any questions?
Yes. What precluded all of this?
So, as in today's agenda that we're going to be talking about, the next item on your agenda is actually authorization of an ordinance for the city to borrow $7.2 million for the capital projects that were approved as part of our fiscal budget. In working with the development team from Hilton Head Lakes West, they are hoping to be able to close on the borrowing through their mid by the end of this calendar year. And given the dollar values that would be borrowed at that time, the city wouldn't be able to utilize bank qualified financing. And so I think as an example for this year, the difference between what we would pay with bank qualified financing and regular financing is about $114,000. And so that is a fee that the developers would pay to the city to offset the savings that we would have otherwise been able to utilize had we been able to use bank qualified financing.
Like, what I was thinking of is, what brought this to the forefront? Was this something that has always been out there available, or is this something you all researched? Please go ahead.
So if you remember, we had a workshop about mids in general, and then, some specifics about this mid. And one of the concerns the council had at that time was, what is the cost to the city when we do these types of financing structures? So based off of that, and taking into consideration that the city is planning on taking monies and borrowing to do this entire capital improvements plan that you have over the next few years, there's a lot of goals that the city has to meet. This was a cost that we identified that would be something to the city, to the residents as a whole. So this policy was generated considering that the city is getting larger and having more development to kind of help account for that.
Okay, thank you all for bringing this forward, because this is something I never would have even realized was available or out there that would be a cost to the city. Again, thank you very much.
Mrs. Guzman?
Steve just asked the question that I was gonna ask, so thank you for the explanation.
Mr. White?
Josh, once we're in something like this, how much internal expertise, management, looking over, coordination, those kinds of things do we have to have, and do we have that capability now? Because it's not, without that, the questions, that's all I need to say.
Yes, no, I will tell you, administratively, this isn't going to be too much of a burden, and I need to give all the credit to your very capable city attorney, because the policy that she has drafted very clearly encapsulates what would the triggering events be when this would be applicable. And so it's really just a question of, are we going to borrow in a particular calendar year, and if so, how much? And then is the developer going to borrow money through a mid, and if so, when and how much? And if those two things align up within the same calendar year and go beyond $10 million in borrowing, this policy gets triggered and becomes an automatic requirement.
And triggering is almost automatic, as you're saying.
Correct.
Very good.
Awesome.
Great.
Mrs. Carroll?
No more questions. I think it's a great thing, though, that y'all caught that. I wouldn't even, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought about that, because
Well, thank you. I think I share everybody's opinion that that's something we hadn't thought about. What I always looked at this from a different angle was, and I guess this will come up the other one, but we don't want this to hinder our ability to borrow. And so this is just dealing with our ability to borrow at the best rate, correct?
Yes, that is correct. And so there's a number of contingencies because let's just say that the city was going to borrow $11 million. Well, we wouldn't qualify for bank qualified financing, so this policy doesn't come into play. Alternatively, if the rates go to the point where we get a more favorable rate that's not bank qualified financing, this policy wouldn't apply. So it's really only in there as a protective measure just to make sure that the city's not losing out on that more preferential rate.
Okay. Okay, at this point, then, I'll open it up to the public if the public has any comments or questions regarding this policy. Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to Resolution 2025-10-02A. This is a resolution, requires one vote, and that one vote will be this evening.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 2025-10-02A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, the resolution has been adopted. Next, this is a first reading, and because of the length of this ordinance, I'm going to advise everyone that for full details of this item, you can go to the published agenda, which is what we have here, or you can also go online for the full reading. But for the sake of time, this is quite lengthy. We're just going to go right and recognize Mr. Gruber to explain this first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. As I alluded a moment ago, this item is essentially an ordinance that allows you to borrow money. In this case, we're going to be issuing what's called installment purchase revenue bonds. And we are going to be working with South State Bank to receive the proceeds of those bonds. The borrowing itself is $7.2 million. That is to reflect the adopted budget that you had as part of this year's capital program. And so there's a handful of projects that are going to be used to support, or these proceeds are going to support, and those are the projects that are listed in the title of this ordinance, which gives it its length. But essentially, this is just the authorization to borrow money in line with your adopted budget.
Okay, let's start the questioning with Mr. Carroll.
We had kind of discussed this, Josh. I had asked you some questions. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, we had discussed this issue with you previously, and I had asked a few questions, and I don't have any more. I think it's basically pretty self-explanatory considering the previous motion, so I don't have anything.
Mr. White?
I understand the money part of this. From an infrastructure point of view, do we have the capabilities to keep on top of this? There's going to be some balls in the air and some know-how, and that's my question.
Yes, sir. And so that was actually very much a topic of conversation with staff today. Understanding what borrowings we've done previously as a city, and we have done borrowings like this previously. So a good example of that is the rec center. When we took out an installment purchase revenue bond, that was used to finance the construction of the facility. We are paying that back, but we are tracking those debt repayments. And similarly, we will be tracking the debt repayments associated with all of these facilities as well as part of our overall debt management program.
And I'm also talking about project management. That will be handled as well.
Correct, yes. All of these projects are either underway or close to being underway once the funds are in our possession, but they're all part of this year's capital projects program. And between Jody and John, they are making a lot of great progress on all of these areas.
Thank you.
Mrs. Guzman?
I don't have any questions. Josh gave the perfect explanation just now, so thank you.
Mr. Musman?
Just quick question, I guess this is for the city attorney. Are we following proper procedure by not reading the complete ordinance into the record.
Yes, sir, you have the title listed and then the agenda item is part of the
Okay.
record.
All right, thank you, that's all I have.
Just to refresh my memory, there are 6 items in this ordinance that we're planning to address. The Communications, Information, and Digital Solutions Building, which one is that?
That's 102 Main Street.
That's 102 Main Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and also, I don't recall what the EOC improvements were, but I recall we were given it, and I should have asked
Yep.
this
So
in
the
advance.
EOC improvements were structural improvements to the exterior of the facility, the doors, the windows, and there may have been some interior, but it was primarily the exterior components of that building.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions. Now I'll open it up to the public. Does the public have any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the first reading of ordinance 2025-10-02B.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance 2025-10-02-B.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second,
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, next, we go to item number C, which isn't quite as long. This is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the establishment of the Hilton Head Lakes West Tract Improvement District, providing for the financing of the improvements within the improvement district by assessments, the issuance of bonds, and other revenues as herein described, and matters relating thereto. This is 2025-10-02C. Mr. Gruber, please.
Yes, sir. Items C and D on tonight's agenda are both related to the Hilton Head Lakes West Municipal Improvement District. As we've previously discussed this evening, this matter was brought before council as part of a workshop so that we could do a deep dive into the workings of a municipal improvement district, what it does, how it operates. And so a lot of that information has been covered, but we're certainly happy to answer any questions that you have tonight. But otherwise, the attributes of the MID that we've been talking about for this particular district have remained the same as what was previously presented to you at the workshop.
Right.
Okay, thank you. We're back to Mr. Mearsman.
I have no questions.
Mrs. Guzman.
I have no questions, but I just, well, actually, it is a question. Mrs. Maines, so, as per the workshop that we had, everything that we had concerns about has been worked out and tied up in a bow, correct?
Yes, so the BQ policy that you adopted will address the concerns as far as cost. And then you had a secondary, one of the bigger topics was disclosures to homeowners.
Right.
So there is a policy that we've drafted for that as well, that we're planning to present to you at the 16th meeting. And that has been drafted, it's being shared, we're just making sure we have the language as good as we can to address those concerns. There's only so many tools that we have to do what you want to do and the scope of what the city can ask for. So we're just doing, putting that document together. So before you have your second reading, those concerns should have been addressed to the best of the city's ability, to the best of the ability that we have with the tools that we have.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Ms. Guzman, I would just add to that quite quickly. We're really approaching this with a belt and suspenders approach, which is to over-require
Yes.
notice to folks. And so in the policy that Ms. Maines mentioned, there will be several different requirements all geared towards ensuring that notice is provided. And so we can dive into that when the actual policy comes forward, but please know that that is our approach to that, addressing that issue, is to make sure that it is covered in multiple different ways.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Mr. White,
No questions.
Mr. Carroll.
No questions except to, reiterate what you just said, Josh, about, I think we had at one of our meetings that came up that people weren't notified and stuff, and I think we going overboard with that to make sure, so I'm glad you did emphasize that.
I have no further questions. I think the workshop that dealt with the mids was educational and eliminated a number of the questions that would have come up tonight. So just another good example of utilizing a workshop format to educate us as a council before we have to come to vote. At this time, I'd like to invite the public to make any comment or ask any questions of us at this time. Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the first reading of ordinance 2025-10-02C.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance 2025-10-02C. And I would like to reiterate, Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, one more time, what Josh just said, that we are gonna go overboard. That, that's probably one of the things that we've been hit with lately about people not getting stuff in the certified mail or not getting notified. And that we emphasize that we're gonna do more than what the state recommends for notification.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll, and Ms. Oliver, let's make sure that's put in the minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Next, as Mr. Gruber mentioned, this is related to item C, this is first reading of an ordinance approving the assessment role and master assessment methodology for the Hilton Head Lakes West Tract Improvement District and other matters relating thereto. This is ordinance 2025-10-02D. Mr. Gruber, please.
Yes, sir. As previously indicated, this is, now that you've passed first reading of creating the district, now you're going to look at passing first reading of the way that the assessments will be identified and ultimately collected from within the district.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Carroll this time.
I don't think I have anything on that, Mr. Mayor. That was also discussed, and I didn't have too many questions, but that was explained, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory, so no questions other than what I asked.
Okay, Mr. White?
Josh, when we talk about methodologies, there's lots of ways sort of to skin a cat, and my question is, do we have a way when we're looking at these to look at best practices and some of the examples of some of these things about collecting things and some of these things that are proven and we could learn a lot as opposed to needing to discover them on our own?
Yes, sir. So the best example that I can give to you for how this will operate is they're going to pay a portion of the costs for the public infrastructure that's going to go in these communities that's going to be paid for by the developers themselves. So that's one set of borrowing that none of the property owners are going to see. It will likely be passed down through the purchase of a lot or a purchase of a home, but there's not going to be a specific charge that they're going to see from that side. The second borrowing is a charge that a homeowner or property owner will see on their property tax bill for a identified period. I believe it's 30 years. So think of it like a mortgage that, you know, you finance the building of the streets, now you're paying off that mortgage. And so each property owner will receive first notification that an assessment exists. So that's what we were talking about previously about before you become a purchaser, you will know that this is subject to an annual assessment. And so you'll have the choice of making that payment over that 30-year period of time, and it's defined as to the dollar amount, so it's known. Or if you just want to prepay that up front and not have to continue to make those payments, there's the opportunity to do that as well. And if you did that and you sold that property to any subsequent purchaser, they would not have to make the payments because it's already been extinguished as it applies to that particular property.
Thank you.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions, sir.
Mr. Mearsman.
No questions.
This is also part maybe to Val. Val brought up about making sure that the rebuyer is aware, so that what you just said, it applies not only to the initial purchaser of the new home, but to the new buyer, because
Yes.
I know that was Mrs. Guzman brought that up the last time.
Yes, sir. So again, we've talked about kind of belt and suspenders. Let's make sure it's in several different places. So there's proactive notifications on behalf of the developers. There's information that's going to be recorded in the chain of title. There's information that's going to be recorded in the community's covenants and restrictions. There's going to be a separate website that is set up to track this information. So me as either an owner or as a prospective purchaser can put in the information about the property, and it will tell me, is there an assessment? If so, how much is owed and how much is remaining? So between all of those methods, I, as a subsequent purchaser of a lot, am going to know, is it on place? And if so, how much am I going to have to pay through those notifications?
Due diligence.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite the public to make any comment or ask any question. Seeing no takers, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the first reading of ordinance 2025-10-02D.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on first reading ordinance 2025-10-02D.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, the second reading on both of those items will be in 2 weeks. Next, we have the manager's report. Mr. Gruber.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple of items to highlight tonight. I know that they're on the agenda and they're also in the packet, but I want to make sure the public is aware of a couple of events we have coming up. October 7th, so next week on Tuesday, is National Night Out, so Public Safety Night. So we'll have all of our police officers, all of our firefighters here. We're going to do some great stuff here on our campus, and so we want to encourage everybody to come out for that event, 6 to 8 p.m. on October 7th. And then we've got Festival on Main, our largest community event, coming up next week as well. That's on Friday and Saturday. Friday will run from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. and then Saturday will run from, I believe it's 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. So very excited about that. This year's theme is an Alice in Wonderland theme where we're all a little mad here. We thought that was a very appropriate description for where we are right now, but very excited to come out. We've got live music both Friday night, Saturday night, and for those folks who live in Margaritaville, we're going to offer a free shuttle service from that community to the festival and back. We're also going to offer remote parking over at the Rec Center and at Royal Live Oak Academy, and so we're going to try to cut down on the number of vehicles and traffic that's coming through this area by offering remote parking services and shuttling people into the event.
Can you kind of emphasize that a little bit more, because that is one of the questions I have got when you say remote.
Yep.
And also, Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, I've had questions, because I know you see the signs now at Main Street.
Starting to go
closed,
up. Yep.
And they want to know what exactly that means. Is it the whole road, part of the road?
Part of the road, yes. Not all of 46, but primarily the area. I think it's from Epps to just on the other side of Randall. So basically the area where the event is taking place, we will have closed to traffic. One of the after action things we looked at from last year's event was as the popularity continues to grow and the attendance increases, there was a lot of folks running around in between traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was an area where we decided we needed to make some significant changes to it. And so you're going to see that portion of Main Street, pretty much out here in front of City Hall, shut down. We're not gonna have parking on street, we're not gonna have parking up and down Randall like we have before. And so that's why we're offering the remote parking, which is gonna be at the rec center and at Royal Live Oak Academy. And then we're offering free shuttle service to get folks over here. In addition to shutting down Main Street, you'll see them, I just saw them start going up today, but through the secondary roads around Main Street. We don't wanna take this issue and just spread it out into the neighborhood. So you'll see that there's a lot of no parking signs that are starting to go up in that area. And again, that's to try to combat that. Well, if I can't park here, I'll park the next closest thing. And so we're really kind of controlling parking in all of these areas. Sam, Scott, and his team have done a fantastic job coming up with a very detailed parking management plan. So those big message boards that you see out there are all part of that plan in terms of how we're communicating what those impacts are gonna be.
So if they park at the rec center, how often will shuttles come back to pick them up?
Actually, from the rec center, every 15 minutes.
Okay, because that was
Yes.
another question, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Question that was asked of me is, would they be able to bring their folding chairs and stuff on the shuttles?
Absolutely. They may not be able to open a cold beverage on the shuttle, but we can at least get their folding chairs with them.
I can't drink Coke on the bus.
only if it's
Not that
Diet
kind of
Coke.
beverage.
Or Mountain Dew, right, Sam?
Mountain Dew.
Diet Mountain Dew.
That's my weakness too.
Thank you, Mr. Gruber. So we're gonna go alphabetically tonight. So I'll start with Mr. Carroll.
All right, the first question I had, Josh just answered. I've had a lot of questions about, what do you mean by Main Streets being closed? So, and then about the rec center and stuff, that's important, because, I hope people understand that. I guess if there's an overflow, should it be an overflow at any of those two places, you think it'd be enough?
Yes, between the parking that's there now, we think it's gonna be enough, but we'll be prepared with contingency plans if need be.
All right, second thing, I've attended a couple of meetings, and I emphasize that again tonight, about citizens upset or not understanding about some of the annexations that we have done. And then on top of that, some of them upset about not getting the proper notice, even though the city actually went above due diligence. That's why I emphasize it so much tonight, and we emphasized at some of the meetings Josh and I attended, that we are gonna try to do even more than we did before about letting people, know about these, annexations and stuff. And Josh actually, I'll have to give him a kudos, has actually gone above and beyond and actually gone to some of the people's houses and met with them and talked to them and tried to let them know what was going on. So I think the city's trying to, a good faith in some of these annexations. That we talked about, nobody's gonna be happy, but we just tried to make them as good as we can, and that's about all we can do, and we tried to explain that. Second thing, LCOG, Low Country Council of Government, I've been on some meetings with that, and also starting interviews for our new director. Our director is retiring, and I think most of the citizens know when I talk about LCOG what that is, but what that is it's the Low Country Council of Governments, and Hardyville is represented by that group. And it's important to Hardyville because that group issues a lot of grants. And if Hardyville or Ridgeland, any people like that get a grant, it helps save taxpayer dollars. And we've gotten several $1 million over the last few years that we've gotten from LCOG to save the taxpayers a lot of money. So I am working diligently on that, trying to make sure that we keep moving forward. I think that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mrs. Guzman?
Couple short things. Last week I attended the Kiwanis fundraiser at the Agape Life Center, and I recall seeing some of you over there. And what an eye-opener it was. Our very own HPD officer, Sergeant Jerry Brown and Corporal Ginn have spent countless hours making a giant impact on the kids, especially in the summer months. I also got to hear Dr. Pochita Young of the Agape Center give a very sobering and inspiring speech on the outreach work done by the center. It blew my mind to hear some of these families bring home just $62K a year, and the bills have yet to be paid. other outreach organizations step in, but it is unacceptable to hear that kids go hungry in this county. The other event was the Royal Live Oaks fundraiser was on Monday. It was very gratifying to see how much of an impact Dr. Wicks and RLOA has been to their students. To hear them share their journey through their school years was impressive. And one young lady is hoping to graduate with her associate's degree and move on to her future in the medical field. In May of this year, I attended the TCL convocation and was amazed to see many young people graduating with their associate degrees before they graduated high school. Dual enrollment must be encouraged where possible. It gives these kids a leg up into their future. And another big thank you to our fire department for their response into Hilton Head Lakes last week for a vent fan fire. The resident was very thankful and appreciated the crew's professionalism, so I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mearsman?
Well, Josh announced part of what I was gonna say about the events coming up, but last week I also attended the Kiwanis Taste of Jasper County at Agape. And my hat's off to the Kiwanis for a club that's less than 2 years old to be organized and put on an event like that is amazing. And they have big plans. They've already started with what they've done helping the community. And just yesterday, I received a call that Agape would like to have some help in establishing a pickleball program. One call I made to Kiwanis last night, and they're gonna be all over it. They said they'll take the ball and run with it right away. So we're very fortunate to have a group like that that wants to work with our schools and with our youth. Also, Val and I are both graduates of the Citizens Police Academy. And I want to thank the Chief for your all support of that program has been amazing. The alumni group that has been established is already hitting the ground running. They're going to be assisting Tuesday night on the National Night Out, and they are going to have a presence at Festival on Main. Looks like we will be handling lost and found, everything from car keys to children to take care of that. So that's quite a response, and that program is only going to grow. The other thing that I want to talk about is after our workshop, I drove back, and they were assembling the, excuse me, I get very emotional, pieces of handicap accessible equipment in the Juju Hudson Playground Park. I brought that up to Jennifer a year and a half ago, that we need that for the residents, and she took it and ran with it. And it means a lot to me to see that we are not just talking about things, we are doing things. And we should be very proud of what Park and Rec has put together back there. Unfortunately, I will be out of town for the dedication this coming weekend, but I hope everybody that goes there will look at these two pieces of equipment and know that Hardeeville doesn't talk the talk, we walk the walk. And that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. White?
Nothing, man. I had a health issue that came up. I was on my way to the Kiwanis thing, and I go back home and going in for a little surgery on the 8th, kidney stone. One thing that happens when you get older, and I have to be so I'm not looking forward to that.
You're not to be old.
There's nothing exciting to report this time.
Okay, first of all, I was not at the last meeting, and I'd like to thank Mrs. Guzman for doing a wonderful job guiding the meeting. And so based on that performance, Beth is already planning the next 3 vacations, so you don't fall out of practice. I also missed the Soloco meeting. So I'd like to thank, Josh did a great job presenting the activities of the city, and Mayor Perry of Hilton Head for chairing that meeting for me as well. It seems that I only got back 8 days ago, but that feels like 6 months already. So there were a few things that I took part in since then. The next morning after I arrived home, I went to the BJHT, the Beaufort Jasper Housing Trust Symposium, that following morning. And after that session, Ms. Tabernack from Beaufort County and Councilman McElwain and I, we were talking to the Housing Trust. I think there were so many important things that were brought forth by Dr. Ulrich at that meeting, and we all agreed. So there will be on November 12th from 9 to 11, also at Palmetto Electric, a meeting just for city managers and elected officials in every municipality in the 2 counties. So I strongly urge every one of us to mark your calendars for November 12th, and please go and hear the important information about South Carolina and the nation about the shortage of housing. And it was so eye-opening that we all thought that, because there was only 4 elected officials in the room, 3 from Beaufort County Council and myself. So that's why they're going to reschedule it just for elected officials and the city managers. I also attended the Kiwanis dinner. It was done very well, big turnout. And I also was at the Royal Live Oaks dinner, and it was very successfully, not only from a number of people, but financially as well. Last night, Josh and I spoke to 150 people from Sun City West. They're all new residents, and so we tried to enlighten them about the city of Hardeeville. And it was kind of ironic because on October 1st, 2015, I was sworn in as a councilman, so that was my 10th anniversary as a member of this council. This morning, I went to Savannah Surfaces. It's a grand opening. It's a tile and outdoor design area right next to Rawlings raw grains on 315. Quite impressive. It was a reopening after they've been there 20 years, but they've expanded their selections. And they have both retail and wholesale. So if you're looking for tile or outdoor surfaces, it's worth checking out. Josh and I also went this afternoon before we came here to USCB. They had a workshop and talking about, they have just had their 20th anniversary as a 4-year college, and they're talking about what they need to do going forward in the next 20 years. So we participated in that as well. Tomorrow is a ribbon cutting at BJWSA, the Purysburg plant. Purysburg, yeah. I was away. I have an excuse. I was away. Sorry. Also, another reminder, October 25th, Saturday, the Alzheimer's Walk is in Old Town, and I was invited by Mrs. Guzman to Hilton Head Lakes on Sunday. They had a Mahjong tournament to raise money for the Alzheimer's Walk, and I understand that they are probably our biggest donors in the city of Hardeeville. They did an excellent job, and I understand from Mrs. Guzman that some of the winners donated their winnings back to the Alzheimer's Walk. So that was really good. Mrs. Oliver, I'm looking at this thing, the youth council meeting was changed to the 15th because for some reason I had a national night out on the 8th.
Okay.
So I was really, but you already made the calendar change to the 15th for the youth council. Yeah, I checked.
Oh, okay.
You did that.
Okay.
I saw a quote and I think it's really, I thought of us all when I saw this because it's what we're faced with almost every night we come here and every time we face our citizens. And the quote was, "What's right isn't always popular. What's popular isn't always right." That was said by Mr. Howard Cosell, for all you sports fans out there. But it really struck me when I saw this the other day, and I thought, wow, that really describes what we're faced with constantly. So I thought I'd share that with you. Okay, that's it. It's a good thing I was away. I was short tonight. We have one more piece of business, and that is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Good night, everybody, and thank you for